Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another Women of Horror Spotlights. Today I have with us, she's an author, and she has a book out right now on Amazon as well as Kindle Unlimited. And it's called Highway of the Dead, Uprising. By the way, she's also a featured author for Horror Writers, Inc. That's I-N-K. I have with us Bethany Stoosman. Bethany, welcome to the Horror Realm.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So tell us a little bit about Highway of the Dead Uprising. I love that title.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So Highway of the Dead, actually, I love zombies. Who doesn't love zombies? Zombies is fun. Yeah. We all love zombies. So Highway of the Dead is a zombie novel, and it's a little bit different than other ones because this one starts with an apocalypse of an asteroid, like a meteor shower, just hitting. And it's the meteor shower that starts the zombie uprising. What I find unique about this book is, one, it is featured here in Tucson, which is my hometown. So there's elements of Tucson, there's elements of Oklahoma, and elements of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So there's a lot of elements of places that I've been and visited. I may not have everything accurate, but creativity.
Yes.
But I think it definitely delves into a different aspect of it. It's not so much of a rage virus. It's just more of bodily change, I guess, that throws people into it. It is the first book of a series. So the next one is going to be due out next year, which is Highway of the Dead Sabotage. And there's a whole lot more stuff happening in there. Yeah. So, but it's a lot of different groups that come together. I'm excited about it.
Now, when you initially came up with the idea for the story, did you initially intend it for it to be more than one book? Or did it just happen as you were writing the first book? You're like, boy, I want to explore these characters a little more, this story a little more.
Yeah. So I love series. I love when the story keeps going. I'm definitely one of those people who I love the first day. Like, I love as things are happening. I want to know the people who are still at home watching television and wondering what's happening as the people who are like, we're preppers, and they're like, they're on it and they're ready for it. So I love that whole first day. So a lot of this is just like the first day of something happening. And obviously for me, I'm like, that sets it up for a whole series. So we got a whole lot of stuff to get through, different experiences, different encounters. And fun fact, actually, a lot of it was inspired by an actual encounter that I had.
Really?
Yeah. So, sorry for anyone who is watching this, who's part of my podcast. They're used to my cat Indy, who just jumps in on all of my episodes. I'm so sorry.
And my cat will too. So
okay.
My cat will too at some point.
Yep. Yeah, he'll probably make a few appearances. So, but yeah, so one time I was driving home, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but if anyone's from Tucson, Arizona, there's a lot of light ordinances. So it's very dark in parts of Tucson, very dark in the desert, which gets really super dark. And so I was driving home, and suddenly my car just like lit up, and just like almost I thought someone set off a firework in front of my car, but it just lit everything up. And then I slammed on my brakes, and I got out, and there's this loud boom. And I found out it was actually a meteor that had traveled through like New Mexico and Arizona and Nevada. Like, it just traveled all straight through. And so that's actually a scene in my book right there when you first meet one of my main characters. Her name is Alex. So it's just kind of neat to bring a lot of real life parts and add it to characters and elements of my book. To throw in there. I think it kind of makes it just fun. But that was the whole inspiration for the meteor. Was me driving home from work one day, and I'm like, hey, that was weird. So
now, I mean, as an author, is it hard? I mean, you say you take real life experiences and inspirations and put in your book. Is it hard, especially a zombie apocalypse, not to implant yourself as a character in it? Like, what in hell would I do if a zombie apocalypse happened?
Well, I feel like I would probably get stuck on a fence somewhere. Like, I am not going to survive a zombie apocalypse at all. I'll probably be like the first one gone. So I feel like this is just, if I was cool, then I'd be one of the survivors. And it's how I just play it out. And I what I like to do is put my characters into situations and then they find themselves out of it somehow. So I feel like some of my life is examples from my characters, but then they just take a whole nother level and they just go on and create their own chaos half the time. So
love it. Now, when it comes to zombie, I'm a huge zombie fan too. I mean, from back in the '80s with the George A. Romero stuff, and even like the Return of the Living Dead, the cheesy ones. I love zombies, and then it kind of died off, and then The Walking Dead kind of inspired zombies to be cool again. But then it got bombarded with zombie stuff, and now we're at the point right now. It's been quiet on zombies, so I'm glad to see an author who's making a zombie book and during this quiet period, and hopefully it will start getting creators to bring zombies back.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned Horror Writers Inc. I'm also part of Weird Realities Network as well, and both groups have a lot of authors who oftentimes we dabble in zombies. So a lot of different indie authors, if anyone's interested in meeting new authors or finding new reads, both of those groups are really good at finding them. And there's a lot of zombie influence on a lot of them. That's how I got my start on meeting a lot of these authors, was they were zombies and I was in zombie groups. Not like, I'm not obsessed with zombies, but they're cool. Like, they're fine.
They are cool. Yes.
Just monsters in general are really cool. That's what I love, is just in general monsters, and zombies are part of monsters. But you get me werewolves and vampires and cryptids and all sorts of stuff. Anything monster, I love. I just love hearing about it. Anything that is just spooky and the creepy thing in your closet or under your bed, that's what I like.
Do you think we as a society are prepared if a zombie apocalypse happens?
No, not at all. Maybe, sorry, that was a little fast to answer.
I was quick.
You know what? Maybe I should explain. Not so much of zombie. I don't think we as a society are used to not having electricity and Wi-Fi. I think that would be the apocalypse right there. There's going to be people who are going to stand out, natural survivors, people who find themselves capable of things they did not think they were capable of. And then you're going to find the people who are like, I'm totally prepared. And then they're not prepared at all. I think that any apocalyptic event, whether it's zombies or meteors or vampires or just, political shutdown of stuff, without getting into that. But I think any type of event like that will help people kind of find their true selves and find what talents they have that maybe they didn't realize they had on stuff in order to survive.
Because I was talking to somebody actually earlier today. I was like, I was talking because I'm a big history buff, and I was like, boy, like us as human beings, we are so advanced from the 1800s, but also we're so not, because at one time people built their own houses, people got from state to state without maps and GPS. And if you take away the technology, I feel like with us as a species, a lot of us are going to be absolutely lost.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be lost, but a lot of people will also adapt easily as well. Take it as like, okay, I have my nephews who are a good 20 years younger than me. If anything's wrong with my computer, or if I can't get something right on my phone, they are right there. They can figure it out. So let's say there was like a AI thing that happened. They would be the forefront people who could help solve things or hack into things and figure it out. But if something happened where you need to build a house, I'm not going to be good at that either. I can clean it. I can't build it. Yeah. But everyone's going to kind of just find skills. And I think that as a society, not just with America, but just worldwide, everyone has skills that they don't realize that they have until they're put into that situation. I don't know if you remember, there used to be a show called, I want to say it was The Colony. I don't think it was, I don't know, it was a reality show, but it was on maybe like 10, 15 years ago. It was a while ago. But it took average people and they put them in an apocalyptic situation. And they had people who were like pizza delivery drivers and chefs to like electrical engineering. And they put them in a situation where they had to basically come up with food, water, deal with other groups that came in. It was actors who came in pretending to be hostile groups. It was a really cool show. And I really wish I remember the name of it.
Oh.
But it was so interesting to see these people who basically were just like, okay, that was my career in my past life, but that's not who I am. And those aren't my skills. And they adapted so quickly or they failed miserably. So I think it's just up to the person themselves, like on what they're willing to learn and what they're willing to adapt to. So
what's the one skill that you think you would bring to the table in Apocalypse?
Humor? I don't know. I hope.
That's a good one. I mean, you definitely need humor if an apocalypse happens.
Yeah. I can't kill an animal. I'm so sorry. I will eat meat, but I can't kill it. So I'm not helpful on that. I can't build anything. So I think I'll just be like probably, I don't know. I'd probably end up being one of the people helping making the decisions. I feel like I fall into a natural leadership role on things. Every job I take, I'm a manager or a leader or something. So maybe I'm just more of the delegation. I can delegate people to go to things, but don't ask me to build something because I'll mess it up. I'll find the person who can build it though.
Yes. Now, when it comes to writing a horror series, how do you determine where to stop and where to begin? Like, what is the process?
It's it's kind of I feel like it's cliche, but it's almost like my characters tell me, whereas they're like, okay, this part's done. Or even with chapters, my chapters don't follow just one person. They follow different perspectives and points of view of people in the group. So I feel like that they tell me when they're done with that part of their story and it's time to move on to the next. So anyone who has read Highway, and not giving spoilers, you kind of start out with a couple different groups. And then the next one that I'm working on starts out with people who are related to those groups. And I've had people ask me like, hey, what's Lucy's story or what's this? So this is kind of taking the aspect on her story and how it starts. And once again, it's day one. So it's kind of just the book tells me and the characters tell me, if that makes any sense at all.
Yes. No, because I mean, like, even with my YouTube channel, I do like parts, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna leave it off at a cliffhanger. But I mean, I'm like thinking, do people hate cliffhangers, or do cliffhangers excite people?
I think it depends on the type of cliffhanger. If you leave a cliffhanger and then, like, look at George R. R. Martin takes 7 years to write a book. I can't say anything because I'm getting close to that time. But if you leave a certain cliffhanger that is just, you got people excited for your book and then you don't write another book for years, you're going to lose those people. But if you get people excited for your book and you come out with a book like every 6 months to a year, you're going to keep that. So cliffhangers are useful when you're going to produce the resolution to it. They're not going to be useful if you're going to take years to write your next book, unless you're already established and you have that following, I feel.
I even hate that with like movies and TV shows. It's like, they leave it'd be a great TV show, movie, and it leaves a cliffhanger, and then you got to wait 2 years for the next season. And by then, I done checked out. I completely done checked out of the show. The excitement is gone.
Some of it too is the story itself. Like, Indy's back. Look at Stranger Things. They've gone how many years? Like at least a year since season 4 ended, and now they're going to come out with season 5. So if you have a relationship with those characters and you're invested in their story, you're going to hang on to updates of when that's going to come out, like the next season or the next series or the next book. You're going to wait for the updates. But if you're not invested and you're not captured in that first season or that second season, then it's kind of just going to fizzle out, like you just said. So I think it's more getting people to really care about the story and want to continue following it to get them to come back.
And I mean, the perfect example is Squid Game. Like the first season was like a year, and it's another 2 years for the. I've done checked out mentally. I'm like, I don't know when the next season is coming out at this point because it's just been too long. It's a great story, great movies, but I'm checked out.
It is. I think it taps into our our crazy morbid desire of what would happen if death was an option on the table. So, Squid Games is a perfect example of that. So are a lot of shows. I feel like Netflix is just they've really mastered making people wait for the series to come out, as well as it's almost like they can't pay attention to the series. There's how's it coming out? There's so many good series that they come out with that sometimes I feel like they cut some series that you're like, oh, that could have gone on so much more. But that's a higher decision than any of us have. So they have a lot more access to other information that we don't. So
now, Beth, I'm going to ask you a controversial question. All right, so I follow the indie horror groups and so forth on social media and Facebook. So, and I've asked this question a couple of times actually. And I mean, something just recently, I'm not going to mention it, but something recently just popped up this past weekend. And it's been a lot of crazy drama between indie horror authors against each other. What the hell's going on?
I guess it will depend on the group that you're looking at. So there's a lot of groups out there. And I feel like a lot of our dedicated readers are part of multiple groups, and they're a part of several platforms. Some groups, I was actually a part of a few groups who were merged together and then they broke apart. And fortunately, I've been able to stay out of all that drama because I'm just there for the fun, pretty much. Mm-hmm. I think some people, is that your cat?
Yes, it's my cat.
Only because Indy's like ears perked up. I think that my view, I can't speak for other people, but my viewpoint is especially out of indie authors, we're here to support each other. And I've had so many people who have supported me. I only have one book out. I'm in several anthologies and I'm a part of a podcast and a lot of groups, but I only have like one personal book out. But I have a lot of exposure because of so many other indie authors who are just great at helping newbies and helping people out and just cross promoting. And I'll promote them too on my show and everything like that. And sometimes it can just be a misinterpretation of something. Maybe someone did not intend for a post or a comment to come out a certain way. I've done that before too. I think we've all done that. I think also it's an election year, so a lot of people get very passionate about that. Yeah. People kind of, they're very opinionated about several things. So I think it's just the people who get extremely opinionated, maybe just misinterpret something that will kind of turn a situation. I know there's a couple things going out in a few groups about like sexual harassment, things like that. Yes. I have not been too much a part of that, so I don't know the details on that. I can't share an opinion on something I don't know much about regarding that. So I don't want to say if that was a misinterpretation because I was not part of that, or it could have been an intentional thing. I don't know. So I can't speak on that for myself because I don't know the details of that. But I do think sometimes people can misinterpret stuff, or people can say something and they don't intend it, or maybe someone just had a really bad day and they fully intended what they said, and then they wake up the next day and they're like, ooh, bad decision.
I felt bad. Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes people are like...
yeah, that happens as well.
I don't know if I can say that, but yeah.
Because I mean, the last instance I saw from this weekend, it was something, I'm not going into detail, but it was something similar to what you said. Mm-hmm. That person before the other person came out and even said anything, that person made a statement and said, I apologize. I was having a bad day. And then, yeah, I was having a shitty day and I apologize for the shitty thing I said to you, you know. And then, but it got blown up into this big old thing, it seems like. And like I said, I don't know the full details behind it, but yeah, so sometimes people do have shitty days. And like, I mean, if you come across me on a shitty, I might say something asshole-ish. I mean, but I will apologize. But make sure you're a good person is you at least apologize and acknowledge that you did something shitty.
Right. Yeah. If you are out of line and you acknowledge it, that shows growth on that person. Or even just like, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I can't tell you how many times, like, I've just done something in the middle of the night that I was like, ooh, probably shouldn't have posted that Snapchat right there. Think you missed it. No, like, but it's also just know your audience and know who you're talking to. And at the same time, what you say sometimes is going to have consequences. And if you're going to say something, even if you apologize, sometimes you're still going to have to deal with the consequences. Exactly. That's just life, you know, not just groups. That's going to be life, no matter what.
You just got to be a professional and just watch what you say. That's what you got to
exactly.
do at all times.
And if you say something wrong, own up to it.
Yeah. I mean, just got to keep it professional. You can still have fun, but you have to keep it professional. And at the end of the day, as any horror creators, it's a profession, you know? It's fun. It's something we enjoy, we love to do. But at the end of the day, it's a profession, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
All right, Bethany. Listen, as you know, this is a horror channel, and every once in a while, I like to ask my guests 3 random horror questions, personal opinion. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
okay, we're good.
Ready? Okay. So since you have a zombie book, I'm going to ask you zombie questions. Okay.
Oh gosh. Okay, pop quiz.
It is the zombie apocalypse. Where are you going to go?
Okay, I live in Tucson, Arizona. Very spread out. I have a couple options. One, I can see how we have a huge Air Force base. So if Davis-Monthan Air Force Base seems like it's pretty stable, I might go there. Because I grew up Air Force, so I'm comfortable with Air Force. The other thing is my parents live on the outskirts of town, which is like 40 minutes away. I might go there. It's all going to depend on the situation. If anything, we also have mountains here. Yes, we do have mountains in the desert. A lot of people don't understand that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I might go to the mountains because there's going to be water. There's going to be natural obstacles for zombies to come up. How I would protect myself against other people, I don't know. But I'm also... What's nice about Tucson is I'm not in downtown Central, so I'm not going to be too surrounded by all the chaos. I will have an opportunity to get out. It's just if I am wise enough to do that, or if I just hope the government will come in and save me. I don't know.
Yes.
It's going to depend on the day.
It's depend on the day.
Yeah.
Having an Air Force base is pretty good. As long as you haven't been bitten or anything, I think from what I watch on the movies, a military base is always the safest place to get to.
It is, but if you think about it, they're just people too. So I've worked on base. I grew up on base. I've had a lot of not military experience myself, just as a side passenger of the military life. People are going to randomly wave their friends through, or they're going to let their family go through. You're always going to have that one person who's going to let someone sneak through. So don't let the illusion of safety make you think that you're actually saved. Still always be prepared. And I think every single zombie book and movie has proven that.
Yes. Where one person who is infected gets into the base.
Yep. Yeah. You say, hey, buddy, hey, I saw you at Costco the other day. Let me through. Sure. Go right ahead.
Mm-hmm. As he's bleeding.
Exactly. He's fine. Yes. It's a flesh wound.
Second question. What was the first book, movie, TV show? What really got you into zombies? What was the first form of media that you saw, read, that really got you into zombies?
Zombies. I would say probably, oh gosh. If you want to say monsters, I got stuff for you. Zombies. Probably maybe like a 28 Days Later would probably be the main zombie. influential one for me. I was old enough at that time to really grasp it. And I think it was just the one, no one wants to be chased. I don't like to be chased. And so the thought of fast zombies and just waking up by yourself. Ooh, and Resident Evil. So that was like around the same time, I feel like, that 20 days later Resident Evil came out. So I think it was that whole waking up in the apocalypse, not knowing what happened. And then suddenly your whole world has changed. And the main appealing fact is you don't have to go to work the next day. So that's what really appeals to the zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
So I think that was exciting.
I loved 28 Days Later. I love that movie. I absolutely love that movie. It's a great zombie movie. If you haven't seen it,
I think they're coming out with a third one now. Have you heard about that?
I heard some rumors about it. Yes.
Yeah, like
I hope it's true.
Yeah, I really hope it's true. Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Final question. So since you brought up monsters, if you could be any monster, which monster would it be? I mean, listen, you got vampires, you got zombies, you got Wolfmans. Who would you be?
Yeah, two different answers. One, I would either be a swamp witch. I think those things are just awesome, and nobody knows. Awesome. One, you get a familiar, so like you got an animal to do your bidding, and two, nobody bothers you. Like it's the perfect introvert monster.
Yes.
The other thing would just be a werewolf, because I think werewolves are really cool. They're like one of my favorite just monsters, and they're really scary. So I'm not talking like the Twilight series werewolf. I'm talking like
like a real one.
Creepy, scary werewolves. Yeah, even as a vampire, I would not want to deal with a werewolf. So yeah. So if I could be a swamp witch werewolf, wow.
Oh, that'd be badass.
That would be really weird. Sorry.
See, I would want to be a vampire because I'm a night person. And as you can tell, we're doing this interview at night. But I'm a night person, and I would just love to be able to live forever. You know what I mean? And people say, well, why would you want to do that? Because there's so much in the world that most of us would never get to see because we have a expiration date. You know, we have to try to cram as much as we can in that little time span. And like, so to be able to have an eternity to do exactly the things I want to do and also to build my wealth and knowledge and all of that good stuff. Sounds amazing.
I think if you learn how to invest, it would be awesome to be a vampire because then you're set up. I think if you're stuck working at the 9-to-5 day job as a vampire, that would really suck because then there's no return.
Yeah, but if you're the 9-to-5 person and you're not putting away some money, though, I mean, listen, it might be harder for some. But even if you're putting a little bit away money down, let's say 100 years from now, you got to have something saved up that you can be.
But there's stupid people out there, so there's going to be stupid vampires and stupid monsters. They're going to be spending their money on whatever. So there's going to be that one monster who's like 100 years from now who's still working at like the Quickie Mart or like not to downplay, but like you have to go to retail. I work retail, so I can make fun of retail. But like I don't want to go work at retail for 100 years. Like that's a lot of customer service.
Well, imagine like you're a broke 300-year-old vampire. Like, that's like, what did you do?
Exactly.
What are you doing at this point?
You had 300 years. Like, learn your lesson or go stand in the sun because something's not working out right now.
And you still got bad credit after 300 years? Like, come on, what's going on?
You didn't hack the credit bank yet?
You didn't even use your powers of like persuasion to like persuade somebody to give you some money or like you didn't use your invisibility to rob a bank or something. Like, come on now. Like, what are you doing? Your
vampires have invisibility. I'm all thinking like a Dusk Till Dawn vampires.
No. But even those vampires, I mean, I feel like I could rob a bank. I mean, I feel like I could persuade because you can use a persuasion. You can persuade someone to do anything you want. I'll persuade, somebody to give me all their money. I mean, I would definitely open up the vault to the bank.
I almost wonder if Star Wars was kind of inspired by vampires in terms of using the Force. Like, these are not the Force you're using for, right? Like, you will give me $1,000. Like,
yes. Can you imagine Like, can you imagine if you could just give me some money to everybody you walk up to, and they just hand you their money?
I feel like you'd be very bored after like 100 years, though.
You think so?
Maybe they're poor because they're bored.
See, but I think a lot of vampires. But from what I see from movies, vampires after a couple hundred years, they move somewhere else and they become a new person. You know what I mean? So like they might have been a carpenter in the United States, and then after 100 years, they go to Norway and they become a indie horror author. You know?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can kind of reinvent yourself every 100 years. That's pretty cool.
You could. That also sounds like a lot of work at the same time. I don't know. Yeah. I don't feel like I could put that much effort into it.
But what if you got but what if you got turned into a vampire and you're like 95 years old in a wheelchair or something? Like, that would be horrible.
Exactly. Then you're gonna have to find a nurse for like the next 200 years to stick with you. Make sure you get your meds.
You're gonna have a vampire with sucks.
What?
To be a senior citizen vampire would not be fun.
Well, to be fair, you get a lot of discounts. So,
but you just wake up for hundreds of years with back pains and.
Oh no, I couldn't do that.
Like if you gotta be a vampire, you gotta be 40. I would say 50 is a cutoff. Like you gotta be a vampire by 50. If not,
and that's the thing too.
It's not worth it.
Do you need to be at the weight that you want to be? Or like health wise, do you need to be at your health that you want to be? Because otherwise, Interview with the Vampire? Kirsten Dunst, she was a kid her whole life. Like I
want to be a kid my whole life.
Yeah, no, and I've struggled with my weight my whole life. I don't want to be a fat vampire. Like that's not fun. Like I'm sure in 100 years I might be accepted, but I don't. Right now, I don't want to do that.
What's 100% true? Like I'm bald right now. I would love to have been a vampire when I had hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that'd been perfect. Like stop right there. Boop.
Exactly. I feel like that should be the perks of being a vampire. Like you go to your former self that was like perfect. Like you're supposed to reach.
Yes.
But then if you want to really dive into it, what is society's image of perfect? I know people believe all different things. But for me personally, I still want to be like a nice size and fit into normal clothes and not go to specialty shops. That's what I would like, me personally.
But if I stopped at a vampire when I was at my perfect whatever, I would have been a dumbass. So I would have been that dumbass vampire running around.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the
dumb stuff.
Like the offset. Like you're either young and pretty or like...
Because there's no such thing as a perfect person or a vampire, so you're screwed. Yeah.
Like I'm going through premenopause. I really don't want to go through that for the next 200 years right now. It's not fun in my book. So that's everything you know.
For 300 years. You don't want to have hot flashes for 300 years. That's too much.
Yes, a lot that's too much. I told you.
Yes. See, this is her. Listen, this is her asset. So listen, this is her trait. This is her. Which is what she brings to the table. Okay, so if you can invite her into your fort, knowing that she's going to make you laugh.
There you go. I will make you laugh or really annoy you. I'm good at both.
Bethany, where can everyone find you and your work?
People can find me on Amazon. Also Kindle Unlimited. I am, like you mentioned, I'm part of Horror Writers Inc. I'm also part of Weird Realities Network. So I have a podcast on Weird Realities Network, which Travis, you're welcome on that anytime. Just let me know.
Most definitely.
It's called Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales. And we always have a topic and we go off topic 24/7. We never stay on topic. So it's super fun. If you want to find my book, obviously Amazon, Bethany Stutzman is what I'm published under. And then, that's kind of it. I only got the one book and the one podcast. So,
well, we learned a lot. Listen, let's say we learned a lot in this interview. We learned. We learned too much about Bethany about you in this interview. We learned that you're going through premenopause. We learned that you love to be a werewolf or a swamp witch.
One of those.
Yes. But also one about your book, Highway of the Dead Uprising, you can find on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. And please follow her podcast. I would love to be in your podcast. 100%.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun.
Reach out.
That'd be
We'll
fun.
get you set up.
Yes, 100%. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Bethany Stoosman. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.